Let's get to Geraldo. Geraldo Rivera is here for the Daily Take. Hello, sir.
Hey, buddy.
So Trump says he paused it. He was going to have this big attack, but they talked him out of it, and now we're waiting on the talks. How do you feel about things?
Well, I'm not sure what the massive attack the president has in mind. I don't know anybody else that has corroborated the president's take that they were on the verge of going over the top, leaving the trenches and charging at Iran. It just seemed to me as murky as ever. It seems to me there's still the competing blockades in the Strait of Hormuz. What's the president going to bomb exactly?
Right. I wonder if that's part of the
Is he going to bomb
Do the Iranians
infrastructure?
Believe him either? Do they buy this when he's threatening? I was going to have this huge, attack, and maybe they're not sure either.
I think there's definitely. I agree. I think there's definitely diminishing marginal returns. Yeah. The more you threaten to attack and don't attack, the less people believe you that you are going to attack. So it really it takes the shine off the threat. I do believe that the United Arab Emirates, Qataris, and the Saudis have been in touch with American negotiators, obviously, and they have made clear their preference. They don't know what's going to happen. They don't know what the president has in mind. But what they sure as hell do not want is for the United States to go wipe out the electrical grid in Iran, or to hit schools or bridges, or that sort of civilian target. I don't know that we have changed positions very much. The one thing I will say, and maybe this goes to the president's delaying tactics in a sense, the Pakistani negotiators are confirming a tit for tat, a proposal, counter-proposal, proposal, counter-proposal. I'm not sure how many have gone back and forth, but it is clear now that there is some kind of negotiation going on, that the Pakistanis are kind of not so much mediating it as enabling it. I think that unless and until the president says J.D. Vance is going to go to Pakistan, or Secretary of State Marco Rubio is going to go to Pakistan, then I think that you're going to have this. One thing the Pakistani negotiator, I forget which one, what his name, the field marshal, says is that both sides keep moving the goalposts. Right. And that it's very frustrating for Pakistan as the would-be peacemaker or negotiator, to facilitate negotiations, to know where the sides really are. It's clear that Iran wants its money. That's very clear. Iran wants its embargoed tens of billions. Yeah. And they want the tens of billions before they start meaningful negotiations, they say. The United States wants Iran to announce agreement on the nuclear issue. No enrichment. The president says that's not going to happen. Iran says it's not going to happen. Whether or not they try to package a whole comprehensive deal or try to do a little of this, a little of that, I don't think anyone knows. But I think it might ultimately be whatever is possible. Because the president can't continue to threaten massive retaliatory or punitive strikes and not deliver. Right. After a while, his protestations of imminence will be diminished.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I mean, it's week after week. It might already be
I still believe, it may indeed already be diminished. That's why I think you've got to come back to the Strait of Hormuz. Right. You've got to. That is where this thing will be resolved in the short term. I don't think that these negotiations at this pace, how long will the interest of the world be glued on anything other than the tankers building up in the Persian Gulf or the Strait of Hormuz? I just don't know that this audience of the world will be patient enough to listen to these threats and counter threats, the bluster, exaggerations,
week after week,
pretend deadlines, and so forth.
Which is what it's been. What about the president's...
An hour away. Do you really believe it was an hour away?
I know.
Maybe,
I was about to do it.
Maybe it was an hour away.
And one of these times it might be, and then it'll happen. We'll say, well, okay, I guess it was serious. It is kind of the boy who cried wolf that's been going on here for the last 2 or 3 weeks at least.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.